Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing my custom LEGO Transformers Reactivate Bumblebee. Now obviously the game hasn't released yet, so this is more based on the toy. But anyways, let's get into the review. So starting off at the front, I think I've managed to create an accurate representation of his front bumper as well as the lights that he has. Although I will say the side here is slightly messy. And there's no wheel rim over the second tire. But I think the back here works quite well, even though it does have the feet sticking out. The original toy also has that as well. And here he is with Jeep Bumblebee, so you can get a sense of scale. And he is actually quite large in this mode, as he is more than 8 studs wide. And here he is with the 07 Deluxe figure. With an average size Deluxe figure, here he is with Legacy Leadfoot. And considering this guy did come in a 2-pack with Starscream, I don't have the Reactivate one, but here he is with the Studio Series 1. And here he is with a Speed Champions and a minifigure. To be fair, I don't think the scale is actually that bad here. But anyways, I think it's time for the transformation. So the first step is we're going to have to untab the front wheels and spin them to the side, as they're just on some hinges. And they do just untab from that small bracket piece that you can see there. Next we can come to the door wings, and like the movie Bumblebees, we can just open them out to the sides. And to give us some clearance later on, we can come to the top light sections, and they should just hinge up. Now we can move on to the legs, which are pretty complicated. So the first thing we can do is take the waist section and just unfold it. And to give us some clearance for the next couple of steps, we can come to the arms, and using the bottom ball joints, we can just hinge them up. This obviously will help them get out of the way for the leg transformations. And now using the hinge joints you can see there, we can just unfold the knee as well as the hip section. Now we can come to the back wheels, and using the stud connection we can just rotate around the bracket that they're on. And so that we have clearance, we can take them and hinge them halfway around, so they should just lie flat on the floor for now. We can finish these up later on. So now we can come to the feet, and obviously they're on ball joints and they should just rotate around, with the red pieces obviously facing the back of the legs. Now using a series of hinges, these leg sections can just compress into the side, just like that, which I'll show in more detail later on. Now the first set of hinges should be used to take up this whole assembly here, and the second set is for compressing it back down, but the light should end up on the back of the legs. Now we can go to the back wheels again, and finally we can finish compressing them, so they should just rotate around into their accurate positions. And coming to the thigh sections, these should rotate all the way around, so they are flush with the legs, but they should stick out a bit at the back. And that is his legs all done. So coming to the arms, the first thing we can do is take the ball joints and rotate them all the way around. And next we can just rotate them around at the ball joints we used earlier. You should also be able to see they do tab into the chest using one of the studs, and this secures them pretty nicely. Next we can come to the torso section, so all we need to do is take the head and squeeze it through the windshield piece, which I'll show you later, but all of this basically should just compress into one giant ball. And you can see here the windshield piece that does pop out, so we can just compress it against the back of the head and rotate the head around. So that's the head assembly all done, and the final steps are in the arms, which the first one is obviously folding them down. Next we can take them and rotate them at the elbow joints, and that is it for the transformation. So he does have pretty complicated transformation, but I think it works quite well, as here he is in his robot mode. And in my opinion, for a LEGO figure, this is actually surprisingly accurate to the toy. I don't have the toy here to compare him, but I do plan on getting him someday. Anyways though, I do think this guy's pretty accurate, and he doesn't have a big backpack, which is obviously a good thing. I will say one of the only inaccuracies are the windows on top of the doors, as in the toy those are compressed into the chest, but here they're still on the doors. I will say the Autobot symbol here, even though it is just a sticker, does look pretty cool up front. And obviously it's accurate to the placement on the toy. And the front bumper here is also pretty accurate. And it's probably my favourite part of this entire figure, except maybe the legs. I also do quite like the shoulder assemblies, even though the light pieces are fake. Speaking of the legs, here they are, and they're probably my favourite part because here you can see just how many hinges are going on here, just to get the leg assembly to work. But it works pretty well indeed, and it definitely helps with an accurate wheel placement, even if they are slightly kibbly at the back, but it doesn't really hinder articulation, so it's not too bad. And the back wheels are obviously in the correct places as well. Like I said, the doors shouldn't have the glass pieces here, but I don't think it bothers me too much, so I don't really care. I do think his arms are slightly too short for this pose, but the articulation is still quite good. And here he is with Jeep Bumblebee, who he does dwarf. Obviously, he is quite large here, and compared to Siege Prime, even though the aesthetics I think work quite well, they obviously are definitely not in scale. Here he is with my favourite figure in the collection, Metagate Drift, who is definitely too tall for this guy. And here he is with a minifigure, which I don't think the scale is that bad here. I'm not going to compare him to the '07 figure because it's absolutely terrible. Here he is with a Starscream, and I probably will do a reactivate Starscream in the future eventually, but we'll see. So anyways, that's it for this guy's review. And if you have enjoyed, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more LEGO Transformers. And let me know down below if you want to see more of the reactivate designs. But anyways, that's all for this week's video. So, I'll see everybody next week, and have a great time.